Welcome to Warblog. Today we're looking at the battle for Faryab, which is more of a district area. Probably maybe better described as the battle for Maimana in the Faryab region, although they sort of take these places or threaten them. That said, they are actually a lot further north. I just sort of squidged them in there. There's a bit of artistic license. This road sort of goes up and then it goes straight, and then Shirin Tagab is up there, or Khwaja Saposh, one or the other, but not both. One of them, sort of, I don't know where it is, but they're both described as being not far from Maimana. And so I put them in there. So it's really more of a sort of a Taliban offensive against the Afghan forces. They've sort of got a front line like that, and they're sort of putting pressure there. And the occupants of Maimana are described as sort of almost under a virtual siege at the moment. So I don't know what the balance is like, sort of on a numbers perspective, but that doesn't matter. So let's see how it goes. It looks quite interesting to me, actually, because we don't need a heavy front line. So and I think initial sort of questions, you're thinking, well, what does this sort of battle group do? Does it go straight for this and harass that, or does it sort of try and squidge through into there? One of these could do an attack against that at sort of 2 to 1. They've only got to win one attack, or do they sort of both sort of go for this and get similar odds at sort of a 2 to 1? Because they'll be sort of defending at a 5, at a 4. They'll have sort of 10. They'll have 11, so it's not quite 2 to 1. But they could say take one of these units up here, weakening their force down here, but then send the rest of these units sort of against some of these places. For example, this hex here, but they're in fortification, so they're going to be quite hard. I put this one in at the end. I'm not sure why I put 2 in there, so there's almost another one. So you could sort of, he can also join in the battle. He's not really meant as a reserve, but I sort of added them in. I sort of suspect that you might need a little bit more to sort of contend with some of these areas. Alternatively, you could sort of bring these back down here, or you could bring them down to this side to sort of, take out the flank here, or to maybe, even sort of attacking against this one. So there's a lot. The thing is, that what I'm saying is, there's lots of options here. Strategically, maybe it's not fantastic, but in my mind's eye, it's got so many sort of different angles to it that it suddenly becomes quite interesting, and doing things all at the same time. And I don't think really there's a huge amount to it, but I think I just don't know really. I think the thing to do might be to send, because these are all sort of foot troops. And send this motorised unit, and below him is a foot unit. I'm not sure what you should really call them, because they're probably not on feet, but they've probably got assistance with vehicles, but they're not motorised fully as a regular sort of sections. But anyway, it's all irrelevant. What I'm saying is, I could commit him up here and really go for sort of pounding that unit, and then commit whatever this battle group does to following that through and harassing that, whilst committing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, foot-based ground. I don't know what to call them. Foot-based irregular units into sort of harassing this place, potentially cutting across the river and coming across here. So I'm going to actually play that gameplay. I'm not sure if it's the best. But for sake of sort of something to do, now, there's other ways that I could do this. For example, I could ignore these, but these are sort of, they're not very good at offensive, so they're quite mobile. Some of the most mobile units. They've got some mobile units down here, and again, from the Afghanistan perspective, which we haven't really considered yet, let's just have a quick look at that. It's sort of what they've got, these 2 units up here, which are obviously entrenched. But we've got these two units here which are sort of, let's get into drawing mode. We've got these two units here which, you know, essentially are probably going to play a blocking force either way against these units, one way or another, ideally sticking together to sort of keep the odds up. But then you've got these units here which could similarly reinforce in Maimana, or come up here to reinforce here, or come over here to help assist, you know, preemptive a strike against these units, or even to play a more mobile game. You know, what we do with those, I don't know. So again, I don't know what we're going to do with the Afghans, so we'll just sort of play it by ear for the time being. But I'll follow the plan I've got. I just want to have a quick look at what we've got underneath here. So we've got motorised, and we've got a tough. This is the sort of big one. We've got this mechanised unit, which is 336. This one is a 116. So, you know, we've got two 116s. So we've got three mechanised units, but two of them are quite small. But this one's quite tough, so he could probably do things on his own. But he doesn't want to get caught on his own because he'd be, you know, surrounded by these irregular units. But he could probably, you know, be quite effective against them somewhere. So whether we pull him out and start attacking them, but that's all Afghan strategy. So we'll focus on what we've got here at the moment. Just reload it so it's easy. He's going to end his turn as soon as he crosses the river. Yep. Okay. Well, we're on the offensive. I could wait until we get this unit in there, but not a lot of point. I imagine this will be a 2-to-1. See how good my guesstimate is. Yep, 2-to-1, and it's 11. It's exactly the numbers I thought. With a 5, we've got an exchange. It's not brilliant. So they sort of held their ground there, really. They're probably going to want to hold, but that's all that finished. See how far we can get him up there. Okay. I'm sort of loathed, really, to sort of go too close to these units. Because if I just move him there, he's only worth 1. He'll get a 3-to-1 attack coming out. They might start attacking. So we've got 3 in defence there, but they're not fortified. So it might be best to stick him in there. And I'm going to try and come round on this side. If we draw him out, that's not too bad. So that's it. So it's not brilliantly simple. But if we can get some success here, take these units out and then come round, that will be Maimana under siege, as it says in the sort of the description. Okay, so we're going to leave those there. I think we're now going to get attacked next turn quite heavily, but the thing is, we will have recovered that depression, and they will have maintained their depressions, and we could maybe roll well. Hopefully, won't get destroyed. The other option is to move away as quickly as possible. That's strange. He's a 1-2-3. Shouldn't be 1-2-3. He's motorised. He should be 1-2-6. They're both 1-2. I'm gonna have to fix that. Yep. I wonder what their movement actually is. I'm going to fix that now whilst I remember, but it won't take effect on this game. A minute. Okay, I've corrected that, but I don't want to start again, so I think these are pretty tough on their own. And I quite fancy Quite fancy sort of attacking these units. But it will only be a 1-to-1. It gives me reasonable defence in here. Three, 4, 5, 6 plus 10% or plus 10, 20, 30%, which would be 1.8 is probably worth it. I wasn't thinking that much, but I guess what was I expecting? Wow, a DR, not much use. It's got one movement. Can we stack up there? He's got 2 defence. No. And it's pushed him back. That's that. So it's a real sort of open conflict over here that the Taliban are probably going to enjoy. I always do this sort of thing. That looks good, and then the Taliban go, and well, they can go up against that. It'll be worth 2, or it'll be worth 5, 10, 15, 20. Get 2 lots of 2 to. There's only 1 that they can get. He's worth a 2. I'll go against that. It's quite interesting. I mean, it'd be like a 5-to-1. Push him there and there. He's still got a little bit of movement. Push him there and there. Probably go against this. Getting like a 7-to-1. Oh, and a DR. But we can still move into there. Getting a 7-to-1. And another DR. Oh, it's like a dogfight. They were unlucky there. The Afghanistan forces were stupid to have allowed themselves that close to all these irregulars. No movement left. Yeah. DR, another DR. Yeah, you're just going to have to run away, and with 3 movement, that's not going to be easy. You could run away this way, and That would really force the Taliban to split their forces up if they want to chase him. These ones can sort of retreat this way, and he can maybe try and get back there. But it's a real mess. And down here, I think they could possibly think about starting some attrition rolls here. Or 1-to-1, unsuccessful. If they're fighting at 1-to-1, they might want to be going for the 1-to-2. Okay, Afghanistan forces, what do they do? 1 depression, 2 depressions, 0, 0. They've got a DE, which forced him to retreat with 2 depressions. That's quite good. And we've still got a little bit of movement here, so this will be a 4 plus the bonus or whatever they get. Another DE. I think we're going to move him there. There. Any more movement? No. Here we'll go for an attrition roll. It should be a 1-to-1. Unsuccessful. Unsuccessful. There could have been good ones. Well, I've stacked them all up so they can't be attacked. But it depends on their depression rates. But even so, that's still a defence of 6. They should be okay. Depression 1, depression 2, nothing. So they should be okay. They should be over 5. He's the one that's knackered. And they might go for that. Okay. Oh. I'm going to try and attack that. It should be a 2-to-1. An exchange. They didn't want that. Do they go for that? Probably not. But they've got nothing to lose for wiping that out. That should be all they need. He's got 1 depression. He'll be worth 5. He's worth... oh, he's got defensive 2, so... Let's just throw everything together. This should be overkill really, but I sort of don't want to be doing that sort of level thinking. A DR! Oh, bloody hell. Okay. He can't move. He can. Can't move, can he? No, but he can. Oh, this has got to be a... They've got to get him this turn. He's only worth 0.3. DE, yeah. Okay. Well, it hasn't been too expensive. And here, probably want to move him away. Okay. It's called fierce fighting, and I think what we're representing there is sort of relatively fierce fighting, but it's not overwhelming. I mean, I think the Taliban have lost a few good roles. So maybe we could put in another Afghan unit just to sort of just give it that little edge. But I really want to be defending down here. But if they sit there, they'll recover. Well, at least he will, which is important. Well, that's as far as he can get, but I don't think they're going to get down there, so we can do this. Okay, that's that. Okay, they're going to sit there and recover. These two units might be permanently depressed to 1. They're still all good. He sort of wants to recover as well. But we can try another attack here. Why not? Another exchange. Taliban are not doing well. Pushing their fatigues up to 2. Okay, Afghan turn. Four to 1 and a DE. It's quite nice. Pushes them back there, pushes them there. I don't want to be pushing him too far out. Should up the odds a bit. Okay, 1, 1, 1. He's trying to recover. Do they stay within range? What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave everything stationary, but these units, so I'm going to pull back like that, and I'm going to leave it because I don't want to play too much. It's really interesting. I'm going to give the Afghans one more unit, or one. I think that will give them just a slight degree of additional capability. I think the Taliban, they were pretty unlucky with a lot of their dice rolls where they could have got DEs much earlier on. In fact, I probably had 2 ones, or 2 more of these motorised units, just to sort of not so much balance it up, but to give the BAME a little more scope for varied sort of strategies, because I do imagine that the Taliban will probably snowball after it gets its first DE. That said, I think I was fairly sort of aggressive, or what's the word, impetuous at the beginning, by taking some forces to meet these units. I really shouldn't have done that. I should have moved him, committed those units to really one way or another. And I think that they should have both, as they were motorised units and they were 3s, so I couldn't have done it, but what they should do, if I was to play it again, they would both basically go straight to these places as soon as possible and hold out there. Everything else would then hold out here and let the Taliban do their worst. Fairly boring gameplay, but I think that's sort of the way to do it. Coming out in the open here is just a bit too much of a dogfight. That sort of suits the Taliban really more than anything else. I think the Afghan forces were really hoping for, when they get those DEs, that they actually get eliminations, because they need to really, if they could take out 2 of these units even, then they could maybe afford to be a bit more adventurous. But they really need to actually be getting some of those sort of, eliminating some of these units, etc., etc. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, if you think you can do better, sign up and give it a whirl. Speak to you later. Cheerio.